So one of the major limitation of SmartView is that you cannot fetch multiple values at once of one particular COA segment. For example, here I have private connection established and I am fetching this GL code value, which is doable without any issues. But now let's say I want to fetch multiple GL code values at once. Here the most easy solution would be to fetch values in separate helper cells and then sum it up in a different cell, which is fine, but this creates unnecessary working cells, which I don't really like, because as the quantum increases our number of cells would also increase, and let's say I want to make a minor change. In that case I will have to make changes in each and every cell. So the other solution can be to keep reusing HSGetValue formula again and again in a single cell, something like this. This also works without any issues, but again it's harder to maintain and make changes in future, as I said earlier. So the solution which I generally follow is to use map and lambda function of Excel along with HSGetValue formula of SmartView. What this exactly does is it loops our any particular COA segment in our HSGetValue formula, and then in the end we can use some function to sum up the values. So I have this little example here to showcase the working of map and lambda function. Here in F column I have these three values. What I want is to multiply each value with 2 and then know the sum. So firstly we will define our range of values in map function and then use lambda function inside it. So in lambda function we will give our values a particular name, that is we are defining a variable here, and then define what we exactly want to do with our variable. Here in my case I want to multiply each value with 2, so I will write something like this. So now as soon as I press enter we get these values. However, these are in separate rows, so we can use any aggregator function such as sum. Additionally, we can also use if error function to avoid any kind of error while calculation. We will see how we can do it in later part, but that's how it majorly works, map and lambda function. Now let's see how we can apply this in HSGetValue as well. So these are the GL account values which I want to fetch. Right now I'm fetching these GL code values in separate cells and eventually summing up in a separate cell. And in this case I have also taken an invalid GL code deliberately to showcase how we can do error handling as well. So now I will just copy my formula and try to modify it. In map function I will define the range of my GL codes and then use lambda function to define a variable, let's say account code. And now in our HSGetValue formula we can just give the reference of a variable name, something like this. So now as you can see we have got the values of our GL codes in separate rows including the invalid GL as well. So now let's sum up these values. Let's use if error function as well for better error handling. Now everything is fine, and with a single HSGetValue formula we fetch multiple GL codes at once, which is something really great. The only con which I could find here is that if I try to open build functions now it won't work because it will just show me this list of functions. But if I try to open build function here in this cell where I have not done any changes in HSGetValue formula, it is going to work. But I think at least I can live with it because it definitely reduces the working by a very huge margin. So that's really nice. So this was all about how we can fetch multiple values of a single COA segment at once. But let's say you want to fetch multiple COA segments and multiple values. For example, in this case 4 GL codes and 5 product codes. Here if I try to make combinations, my combinations will be 5 into 4, that is 20. So I would need 20 helper cells and then use some function at the end to get my desired output, which is going to be very annoying. And further in this case you cannot use even map and lambda function which I just described earlier, because map only works with a single range as far as I know. But this also has a solution. So if I get time, next video will be on that topic. That is how we can fetch multiple COA segment with multiple values in a single Excel cell. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you find this video useful, and until then, bye bye.